Hey guys, so today I am going to show you my palette collection. Everything that I've got here I have bought myself, so you won't be seeing anything sponsored or anything. I clearly do not have enough subscribers or followers on Instagram either to get anything sponsored, so everything I've either bought here myself or I might have gotten as like a Christmas present or something. So yeah, let's just jump right in. I'm going to start, I have them in piles of brands. I'm just going to start with like miscellaneous ones that only have like one or two things from each brand. So to start off with, I have got, this is my Becca and Jaclyn Hill Champagne Collection face palette. I got this from Sephora when it launched the first time. I think it's back in stock now. I don't know if it's still in stock. I think this is a beautiful palette. I use it all the time. The mirror in here is great as well, so I always take it traveling because it's a really big, good sized mirror. I just think it's a really great palette. Next up, I've got my Violet Voss and Laura Lee palette. This one is another great palette. I'll just take that plastic off. It's got so many great shades. It's not my absolute favorite formulation ever, although there is some amazing like kind of like foiled shades in here which are beautiful. I find the mattes don't blend quite as well as I would have hoped, but they're not horrible. So I think this is a great palette. Again, very versatile. If you're looking for like an all-in-one palette, I really think this could do you. Not the best quality, but also not like bad quality or anything, so I definitely think it's well worth the money. Next up, this is like not that exciting. I don't think I've ever used this palette. This is the Sleek Makeup Blush by 3 in the combo lace. These are the 3 shades here. They are, except for this one's quite nice, but the other two, these two are way too bright for me. I just never use this. I think I bought this when I was first getting into makeup. I really think this is like one of the first palettes I ever even owned. I think it's like, I mean, I don't even know if they're good quality because I've never really used them. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. I recently acquired this. It came back into stock on her store. I love this palette. This is my all-time favorite palette. I mean, look at those cranberry and berry shades, like these two here. They're so beautiful. I love this kind of like burnt orange kind of a shade. I think it's just really on trend right now. They're beautiful shades. They blend amazingly. I don't know anything that works better than this. I've never tried any of the other palettes from Anastasia's collection. I didn't realize the Mario palette was coming out, otherwise I would have bought it, but yeah, I didn't realize that was coming out, so I missed out on it and it's gone now, so I'm kind of sad. But yeah, I would highly recommend getting this if you can get your hands on it. Okay, this is the first palette, I think, well, first high-end palette I ever owned. So I never ever use this anymore, but it does have like sentimental value for me, so I can't throw it out. As you can see, like everybody else in the world, I love the shade Kitten. It's a stunning shade, but I just don't reach for this anymore because, especially like the bottom row, are more cool tones and I don't necessarily go for that so much. It's still a beautiful palette though, and the quality of the shadows is amazing. I mean, there's some great shades in here. I think it's nearly too shimmery for me. Like, it's not like it's glittery or anything, but I think the colors themselves there's not enough mattes in here, but I do think it's a real, is there any mattes? I think that's on the end is a matte, but I think that's it. Otherwise, this one on the end anyway, I think that's it. I don't think any of the other shades are matte. Next up, I have my Ciate, the Fearless palette, I think I have. Yeah, this one's the Fearless palette. If you can see the eyes move, I really like it. This I recently got from Mecca Online Store. I think this is a really beautiful palette. When I first got it, I thought it was a bit like stiff, but I think it was just like the shades are so like pressed down in there that I had to get through that top layer to really get the beautiful colors. Next up, I have my Z palette here. This has two contour colours and two blushes, as well as my Mary Luminizer from the Balm, because mine started to fall out of the packet, so I took it out before it completely fell out and shattered everywhere, because it's my favourite highlighter, so I don't want it to do that. So I've just put mine in my Z palette. I'll tell you the colours I have here. So I have this shade Complicated, which is a cool medium contour colour, and the shade Bad Habit, which is a warm fair colour. I really want to get like a cool fair colour. I have the shade Soulmate and the shade XOXO. These actually, they kick up quite a bit of powder, which like is kind of annoying, but they're super pigmented and I really think they're well worth the money. I really want to go out and buy some more, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I really love the idea that you can customize palettes as well. It makes it great for traveling. You could put eyeshadows, blushes and contour and highlight, as I've got my highlight here, all in the one palette, so you really don't have to take lots and lots of palettes with you when you travel, and you don't have to like skimp on anything. You can have everything that you want. My Australis Cosmetics AC on Tour, the contouring and highlighting cream. This is in the fair. I don't know why I bought this. I was like, it was when everyone was going crazy over like cream contour products. It's really not light enough for me. I mean, this is kind of like, it's like these two shades are too different in colour, so I can't really get a good contour colour that I like. But to tell you the truth, I don't know if they're like that good of a product because I don't really use them anymore. I've got too oily skin to be wearing cream contour products. I generally just go for like powder now, and I think it just blends out nicer on me. I find that sometimes the cream products can look too full on and too contoured, so I definitely prefer to use powder contour products. Next up, I have my brand new Huda Beauty Textured Shadows palette in the Rose Gold edition. So this is Huda Beauty's first palette, but by the sounds of it, because she's written Rose Gold edition, I don't think it's going to be her last. This is a stunning palette in my opinion. I used it, well, for what I've tried anyway. I've only just started playing around with it, but I mean the textured shadows are so pigmented. The mattes don't swatch that well, but they do wear really well on the eyes. I do think the mattes are really good. I don't think the swatches really help them at all, because I think they wear really nicely on the eyes, the matte shades. So I definitely would recommend this from the experience that I've had with it, but I will do a full review on my blog once I've finished playing around with it. Now I have two products from the Balm. I've got the Balm Nude Tude. So this is their eyeshadow palette with the little girls on it. I love this one. I think it has great shadows in it. I think it is fairly good quality. I probably wouldn't say like buy it full price, because so many places always have the Balm for super cheap. I bought mine off Catch of the Day, I think, and it was so cheap. I cannot even explain. Now I have the Balm's Nude Dude. Same goes for this. Absolutely beautiful shades. Again, it goes on sale quite frequently, so I wouldn't buy it full price. I'm not saying they're not like great shadows, but they just go on sale so often that I wouldn't buy them full price. I don't see the point, because you can get it cheaper. Next up, I have my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. This is the contour palette. I really love this contour palette. I especially love this yellow shade. I am really pale and I can still use this. I don't find it to come off like yellow on me. It just kind of like brightens the area a bit. This shade is perfect for pale skin. I just think it's a beautiful palette. The only thing I can say is that I bought this before you could get the palettes that like the pans that come out. So this shade is a complete waste for me. Same with this. This I can use like when I've got fake tan, or I just sometimes put it like a tiny dab on, and I think it's beautiful, but they're a bit of a waste on me. these two, the last two shades especially. So I think next time I will have to buy the palette that's got the removable pans, so I can just not buy those two and buy like extras of this one. So yeah, that would be the only thing I can say about that. My next palette is the Kat Von D eye palette. This is the eye contour palette. You probably all know this one very well. Everyone raves about it. It is great quality. It's very powdery, but it blends really well. I don't reach for this that often because it is all completely matte, and I don't really like an all matte eye look. I really prefer to do mostly shimmers on my eye. Next up I have my Hourglass collection. It's a little bit reflective. So this is the Ambient Lighting Edit palette from last year. It is stunning. I love this one. This is probably like one of my all-time favorite palettes. I got this for Christmas from my sister last year. The bronzer is stunning. I absolutely love that. The blushes are stunning. That one's probably a bit dark for me. This is my all-time favorite ambient lighting powder. This one's also absolutely beautiful. This one's probably a bit dark for me, but again, if I've got fake tan on or something, these two both look absolutely gorgeous. It's limited edition. It's their holiday palettes, but they are well worth their money. If you did miss out on last year's one, you can still get this year's one. This one is in stunning packaging. This is the Surreal Light Ambient Lighting Palette. This has got two blushes, a strobe lighting powder, a bronzer, and an ambient lighting powder in the jumbo size. This is absolutely stunning. Next up, I have my Tarte palettes. This is the first Tarte palette I think I ever owned, or maybe it was the second. I can't remember whether I bought this or the Tartelette palette first, but this is the Graveyard Girl Swamp Queen palette. I have barely used this, maybe once or twice. It's too glittery for me. There is a lot of glitter in here. I mean, there's some beautiful shadows. Like, that's gorgeous, that's gorgeous, that's gorgeous. That's too glittery, that's too glittery, that's too glittery, that's too orange. The brush is really nice though, and the packaging is really cool, but yeah, it's just not my type of palette. So next up is my Tartelette palette. This isn't my favorite palette. It's not like super bad. Some people hate it, some people love it. Again, it's all matte, so I don't really reach for it that often. It does have some beautiful shades in here though, so you can pair it with some really amazing things. Next up is my Tartelette in Bloom palette. The packaging, how stunning is that? I think it's gorgeous. You get this in here. This palette I love, and so many other people seem to love it. I have heard so many people saying that it's the only palette they use, or it's their holy grail palette. I can see why. The shades are stunning. You get a mixture of mattes and shimmers, but they're not glittery, which I love. I think it's great for so many different skin tones as well. Like, it goes from really light to really deep. I think this is a great palette. The quality is definitely much better than the Tartelette palette, like the original one. The Tartelette in Bloom is by far better. I think it's fantastic, well worth the money. Next up is my Tarte, what is this called? The Tarte Color Wheel Amazonian Clay Blush Palette. So this has got 10 blushes in it. I'm just trying to get it in the screen. This has got 10 blushes in it. I think this is a stunning palette, like absolutely beautiful. You've got your light colors over here, plus a highlight there for like spring, summer, lighter skin tones. But then you've got some darker shades as well, which you can wear in like winter and autumn, and it just looks really pretty. This color here, the Culture, is by far my favorite. It's got like a beautiful glow to it. What I also like to do is mix in the blushes here in with the highlights, and it just makes them so much, like, it makes them glowing, because they're all otherwise, other than this one, they're all matte. But I think this is stunning. First up, I've got my Urban Decay Naked Smoky palette. This packaging like kills me every time. I wanted it so long just for the packaging. Oh my god. My boyfriend got me this one, so I have to admit I didn't buy it, but the shades are gorgeous. There's mostly like shimmer shades in here, so if you're not a shimmer shadow person, it's not really going to be up your alley. More cool tone rather than warm tone. But you can create some really beautiful looks with this. Even you don't have to go like full on smoky, you can create subtle looks with this as well. I think it's definitely worth the money. The shades are, of course, the shadows themselves are of course really great quality because they are Urban Decay shadows, and well, the Urban Decay Naked shadows, so I think they're well worth the money. Next up, this was the second high-end palette I ever bought, and I used this one to death. I think I used to not buy that much makeup, so when I bought something I had to really research it and like think about it for ages. So I fell in love with this one, and it took me a while to actually buy it. Then when I did buy it, it's all I had for like months, and the shades are stunning. I still love this palette. It's still, every time I look at it, I'm like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. Again, a lot of shimmers, more mattes than the smoky palette, but a lot of shimmers. This is obviously a very warm tone palette. Sticking with the Urban Decay Naked palettes, this is a recent purchase and I'm in love. This is the Urban Decay Naked Ultimate Basics palette. As for whether or not, I don't think it's like the other Ultimate Basics, because it does have some browns and things. I don't own them, but just from looking at pictures and things like that, I don't think it's similar like that. But I love this palette so much. The quality of these are incredible, different from other Urban Decay shadows in my opinion, but I think they're incredible. I absolutely love it. They were so easy to blend, so pigmented, just buttery and soft, and I think it was well worth the money. I have my Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette. This is the eye palette. I really don't use this as much as I thought I would, because like all the colors except for the bottom row I kind of have in everything else, but it is really good quality. If you can still get it and you think you're going to use it a lot, then I think it's well worth the money, especially like as a starting palette. I think it would be really good because it does have a few pops of color, so you can play around, but it has got a lot of neutrals, so if you're just wearing it to work or school, you can easily just have this. Next up, I have my Urban Decay Vice 4 palette. This, I mean, can we just appreciate the packaging for a minute? Again, Urban Decay have such great packaging. Again, it comes with a brush. There are, how many shades in here? 20 shades. It's absolutely stunning. So you do get a mix of like some colourful shadows as well. Like you've got your more plain neutral kind of shades, but then you've got like this area that's all bright, and you've got some nice greens and things. I really like this palette. Just to give me some versatility. I have my Urban Decay Alice Through the Looking Glass palette. A lot of people complained that this packaging was bulky and cardboardy like the old Urban Decay packaging, which it kind of is. I'm not gonna lie there, it is bulky and big and cardboardy like their old packaging, but I can see what they were going for, and I actually really like this packaging for this type of a palette. I don't think I'd like it for their normal palettes, but I do like it for this type of a palette because it is in keeping with their original Alice in Wonderland palette, which I don't have, but it is in keeping with that. This is like gorgeous. It's got a mirror here, which then you open it up. I'm just trying to do it so you can see it. And it's got this butterfly that like flaps its wings. It's got little whee. So that's magnetic, and that's just really cute. Like, I mean, it's bulky, but it's just really cute. Like, they didn't need to add that in there. Then you've got the eyeshadow palette that slides out from a drawer in here. The shades that are in there, they're really beautiful, but I mean, first off, I find them kind of similar to the Vice 4 palette. I mean, so like if you compare this and this, they're kind of similar. Same with this and this, especially really similar. Yeah, there's just a lot of very similar shades in here that I just don't know if it was really worth buying. As well, I don't actually like the quality of these at all. I found them not pigmented. When I put them on my eyes, I'd like apply them and then I'd start blending out and they'd blend away to nothing, and then I'd have to keep reapplying them, and then they'd just like all blend in together into like one murky color, and I just didn't like it. So I think this was more just like a beautiful statement piece, kind of like decoration piece. So next up, I have my BH Cosmetics lip palettes. I don't actually use these on myself. I have this one, and then I also have this one here, which is like a nude palette. I bought these for when I do makeup on other people. I don't really do it that often, but when I do, I use these. So I bought these so I can just scrape them out of the pan with a, I use like a spatula thing, like a depotting spatula, the Z palette one, because they're really pointed and I can just get some good product out of it. Again, I have some things for when I do other people's makeup. So I bought this, this is just a brow palette. I actually really like this. It's got two like waxes or gels and then 6 powders. The only thing I can say, there's not really a very light powder, so when I'm doing blonde people it's kind of hard, so I have to reach for something else, but I really do actually like this powder. I think it was worth the money because it is pretty cheap, but it is actually good enough quality. Then I have these 2 foundation palettes, so I'll get them here. Ooh. This one is the 35 Warm and this one is the 35 Cool. I also have this concealer palette from Morphe. Again, I bought this for doing people's makeup. It has a great variety of colours and was nice and cheap. This is the what's this one? The 35B, I think it stands for Brights. So I wanted to use some more colours, but I just wanted some like pinks and stuff, and yeah, this has some really nice colours, even just like for not that colourful, just for muted things. Like that shade's really pretty. There's some really nice shades in here. I think it was worth the money. I haven't used it yet, so I can't tell you what kind of quality it is. The 35W. This is a really pretty palette. It's got some gorgeous shades, but some of them I don't like this pink shade, I don't really like that. But it has some really, really, really nice shades. It's got some great variety. This is the 35 Purple, or 35P. Again, nice colours. I've swatched them, but I've never really used it because I've kind of just been like, yeah, purples, colours. Never used it. But yeah, it is a nice, like it's got some beautiful purples on there. But I mean, I can still use this side, but when I've got so many other palettes on offer, I just think, oh, this one's purple, and then I don't really use it. But yeah, it is really pretty. Okay, this is the 35F palette. This is one of my favourite Morphe palettes. Well, probably my second favourite, if maybe, I'm going to say second favourite, but it's a very close second favourite. This has some beautiful shades. So it's got this bottom row here is all matte, so it's really great, and they're all like transition kind of shades and things like that, so you can still get a nice crease colour, which I really like, because all these colours up the top here are all shimmers, or like really like nearly like a not jewelry, like a foiled finish, some of them. So I really like that there's still some mattes, and that you've got a matte black as well to deepen the colour. Like everyone else in the world, I have the Morphe 35O palette, which like everyone else is my favourite. It gives you some really, really nice colours, mixture of mattes and shimmers. So I love this contour kit. This is it here. This is a new one. I've got my old one in here. I've bought 2 of them because they are limited edition. This is it here. You get a brush, this highlight shade, which I really don't understand. It's got a lot of glitter in it. I just don't use that. This is the light, like the highlighting shade, but it is very, like it's matte, so it's just like, you know, your matte highlight. So you can put under your eyes and stuff. That's what I do. Your medium cocoa shade and your dark cocoa shade. Next up, I have my Too Faced Love Flush Blush palette. So this palette comes with all 6 of their Love Flush blushes. I don't reach for this as much as I thought I would. I just don't find that the colours in here really scream to me. I don't know, like they don't really shout to me, but the formula itself is really good. This is the Too Faced and Nikkie Tutorials The Power of Makeup palette. I did post a review on this if you want to check it out. I'll put the link in the description box. I like a couple of these shades. I really like a couple of these shades. A couple of them I'm like, eh, and a couple of them I'm like, no. This one's okay. I do like this. I get that it's not meant to be like super pigmented. It's just like a setting thing. What else do I like? This one's okay. That's okay. But let me see if I can fit. The Frosted Yum Yum and the Irresistible are super chunky and glittery, and I don't really like them. So this is the Too Faced Boudoir Eyes palette. Looks like this. This shade right here, oh my god, it's stunning. I really like this palette. I didn't buy this one, my boyfriend got me this one. I think it's a really, really great palette. I mean, the quality is just like any other Too Faced shadows, so I think it's really worth it, and I would recommend you getting it if you wanted it. But I do find that it's not like one and done palette. I do tend to reach for other palettes when I'm creating a look out of this. Generally, I'll go for this and the Smoky palette because I think they work well together. I have my Too Faced Totally Cute palette, which I have decorated myself, as well as the back a little bit, and I've put a sticker on the top here as well. So this has a lot of colours in it. I really like this shade, as well as this shade, and this shade, and this shade, and this shade. I don't tend to reach for the light green and the bright pink that often, but I mean, I do get a bit of use out of this palette. I do like it, so I definitely, like, if you have it and you use it heaps, I can understand why. I think it's a great palette. Next up is my Too Faced Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. I love this palette. I think it's such a great palette. It's so cute. Like, to me, this is just like the cutest packaging ever. I use all the colors in here. Even this one I tend to use because I can create like it's not like super, super pigmented, so I can still create a really pretty look with it, and it's not too intense. I should really play around with it more often. I really like having like a fun like bronzy look with these shades, and then this shade in the inner corner, it's kind of just like fun and nice. I do like that. So yeah, I really like this palette. Okay, next up I have the Chocolate Bar palettes. This is the original Chocolate Bar palette. This is the second Chocolate Bar palette I ever bought. I really like this. I don't use it as much as I would like to, but I think it's like really awesome. Yeah, I would highly recommend this. Okay, this was the first Chocolate Bar palette that I ever bought. This is the Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar. This is the second one that ever came out. I had to return the original one that I bought because the lid came off and I couldn't get it back on. So this is technically the second one that I bought. This is my favorite one. I absolutely love it. I think it's got some great, great shades. This peanut butter shade is what inspired the peanut butter palette. I love the butter pecan shade, the bonbon shade, the caramel. I just love this palette. This is the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbon palette. This is like super, super cute, but it's my least used out of all of the Chocolate Bar palettes. So yeah, but it is really nice. I mean, the formulation's the same. I actually really, really like this pink shade here, which is called Totally Fetch. I think is really, really nice, and you can get some really nice looks out of it. The only thing I can say about this palette is a lot of the browns are kind of the same color. You don't have like, you know, your more orangey or like peanut buttery kind of brown. It's all kind of like muted, and like they're the same similar kind of colors. That's not exactly what I love, but I do really like this palette. I think it was worth the money, and if you haven't got it, I would recommend it. Same with the other Chocolate Bar palettes, and the packaging on this one is, I think, the cutest. And again, like all the other Chocolate Bar palettes, it smells like chocolate. Okay, this for the longest time was my favorite palette. This is the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. It's incredible. It's got beautiful, beautiful shades in here. It smells like peaches. Oh my god, it smells so good. You get a wide variety of different colors, and you can create so many looks with these. Okay, so that is my palette collection, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, I just want to know, like, I'm not trying to show off anything or do anything like that. I just thought it would be something that you guys might enjoy. I know, like, palette collections are one of my favorite videos to watch. I really like them. One day I will do a declutter, but I'm just too emotionally attached to all of my palettes at the moment. So, and all of my makeup. But yeah, one day I'll do a declutter when things start to expire and things like that. Or if I have things that I'm not using and I think other people might enjoy. I'm like leaning on my bed right now to try and get this. But yeah, for the moment I'm not going to do a declutter. But yeah, everything that I have shown in here has either been a gift, if I have mentioned that it's a gift, which I would have, or I've bought it myself. Nothing's like, you know, I've bought it all myself. This is my collection. So yeah, I'm not trying to show off, I'm not trying to do anything like that, but I just wanted to, you know, show you my makeup collection of palettes. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. I'll also link my Instagram and blog down below, so I would love it if you check those out as well. I post on my Instagram every single day, and I'll post on my blog probably between 1 to 3 times a week, depending on what kind of products, depending on the flow of products that I have. I don't have like a regular posting schedule on my blog, because I just tend to post when I feel like I've got enough info about a product and I feel like I've finally made up my mind about the actual product, so I can give you like good reviews on things and stuff like that. I don't like go, okay, I'm going to post Monday, I'm going to post Wednesday, I'm going to post these days, because if I haven't got something ready, but I've got something like, you know, I haven't got something completely ready, but I've only got something partially ready, and I'm just like, okay, I'll just review it. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that the reviews I post are completely what I think. So yeah, I don't have a posting schedule, but I do post at least once a week, but up to 3 times a week if I have got a lot of products coming in. Okay, but thank you so much for watching. Yeah, please subscribe and hit that like button, and I'll see you next week. Bye!